Hi everyone, it's Eddie here. So today we're going to see a little bit on the shadow boxing part. A lot of people have some problem training by themselves and they want some tips on different styles to train. I received really good feedbacks from the head back drills, the solo drills, and the wall drills. So today we're going to see on shadow boxing. So we're going to look at 3 important aspects and 3 different situations where we could train shadow boxing and how to take the most out of each situation. So let's start with the main points. First, you build your time. The main way you compete, or the main way your sports compete, it's by 3-minute rounds. Go for 3-minute rounds. If it's 5 minutes, 5-minute rounds. Not only the same amount of time for the rounds, also the same amount of time for recovering. And also, if possible, try to do the same amount of rounds at the competition. In case of kickboxing, usually it's 3 rounds. In case of Muay Thai, it's usually 5 rounds. In case of boxing, it's 12 rounds. In case of MMA, 3 rounds, 5 rounds if it's for championship fights. So get that in mind. Get the amount of time you would do in a competition and try to put as much effort in that amount of time and recover in the same amount of time. It's important to get that ingrained into your body. Regardless if you're going to compete in the future or not, it's always good, because if you try to develop more in the sport, most likely when you're going to spar, it will be like that. It will be 3-minute rounds, 5-minute rounds. Get used to it. Build your habits. Second tip. Start slow. Never try to go too fast at first in the shadow boxing, because the main thing of shadow boxing first is to get the full reach of your attacks, to learn the technique. So make sure you slow down, stretch as much as you need for each of your combinations or attacks. And then as you gradually go on the round, you go a little bit faster. So check on your range, on your defense, on your position, and then you can build on your power and speed. Now, third tip, I would recommend you to record yourself. There's a lot of things that when you are doing it, it feels great, it feels just the right amount of power, just the right amount of speed. But once you look at it from the third person point of view, you're looking at all those little mistakes that you're like, why I did this? Why am I putting my hand down in this occasion? Why am I trying to put too much weight on your front leg? Those kind of things, it's difficult to tell by yourself, but it's easy when you're recording yourself. So I would recommend you to record yourself. Sometimes do it in different angles. Try to first get a really good wide angle, then sometimes you might want to record your back just to see on how you're turning your hips, or one specific side, because that side, when you're doing a specific technique, it feels a little bit weird. So yeah, record yourself and review it after every session. Then if you can, you make annotations, review the things that you want to change. So those are the 3 main tips when doing shadow boxing. For the 3 different situations, we're going to see when we have a big space and we have a mirror. This is the perfect situation where there's enough space where I can do my whole movements and I can actually watch myself while doing that. We can also use the mirror so we have an idea of where to attack, because when we're doing shadow boxing and we try to imagine someone, usually we want to imagine someone the same size. We usually have an image of ourselves. But if I were just to do it on the air, I don't know if I'm actually punching on my face, if I'm actually punching on my stomach, if I'm actually kicking on the right place. Well, if I have the mirror, I can actually strike directly to the points that I want to. The same for the knees, the kicks, and all those other stuff. It makes a lot more sense to target through the mirror. Same for defense. If I attack, I see my own attacks. I can also think about the defense of my own attacks. That's how it works. You try to build the attacks and defense on your shadow boxing. Okay. So again, this is the perfect time I want to use the mirror. I can move around, stretch, go slow first, check. Most of the time you will check your jab first. Just try some few techniques first, one attack at a time. I can add the kicks, maybe push kick, just trying it. Great, get your balance. There, you can do a little bit more on punching combinations if you want. Blocking, parrying. Okay, and see, as I have that idea because of the mirror, it's way easier. I have enough space, I don't have to worry too much. This is one of the ideal situations. Most gyms, that's why they have a big mirror in front of the place that they do shadow boxing. Now, for other people, you don't have a mirror, but you have a big space. And what would I do in that case if I don't have anything to get an idea of where I want to attack? I would still use that as a way to get an image of myself, of the space, of how I'm moving around. Because when I have a mirror, I only think of going straight. And it's a little bit more difficult to practice on footwork. In case I don't have a mirror, I have a little bit more freedom. I can move a little bit more, thinking about the angles. If there's a wall behind me, then I could get an idea of the ropes and then get out and then attack again. So it's good for you to have an image of either a ring or a cage, depending on. But yeah, you practice a little bit more in between of the center of the ring and almost to the point of the ropes. Now, in case you're in a really small room, there's not much space, but you still want to practice. Maybe there's a lot of things around. You have to be really careful. So what would I do in that case? I would try to use a little bit more on small footworks. I wouldn't try to step too far, and I would think of my surrounding as if I'm against the ropes or I'm against the cage, where I would pivot around with small steps while defending and getting really tight attacks, whether it's with punches, kicks. I could still do those shadow boxing without much problem, as long as I keep it inside. I think I'm almost against the wall, then I step out. Small steps. I go really slow, so I make sure that I don't crash in anywhere and I have a better perception of my surroundings. So again, on the first one, you're giving everything, so you use most of the mirror and you don't have to think too much about your surroundings. You can put on the later rounds a lot more power, a lot more speed. It's easier. The second one, you try to imagine a little bit more on your surrounding, on how it would be in a ring, how it would be in a cage. On the third one, you would think a little bit more when you're against the ropes, small steps, small attacks. So that way, you can build in 3 different places, 3 different ways to practice. It doesn't matter where you are. It matters how you train with the environment you are surrounded with. Hope you find it helpful. If you like it, please leave a like down and comment, share with your friends. It means a lot. I'm really trying to grow this channel and actually trying to get this kind of video around. It's some real tough ones on between classes and other things, but I do want a little bit more on your feedback so I have a better idea of what kind of content you would like more. So hope to see you next time, and take care.